Software rate depends a lot on the operating system. So it depends on Windows. If you're using Windows, if you're using Linux, it depends on Linux. If you have a built-in RAID controller in BIOS, in the BIOS would usually let you help you do the configuration. Yep.
So usually when you get your hard drive, or either when you get a hard drive, or a motherboard, they'll either have like the like a little 3x5 floppy, or it'll be a RAID controller in the BIOS on the hard drive or the motherboard.
Or it can be built into the BIOS completely. Yep. Yep.
Are you going to need a bigger power supplies for the drive?
Interestingly, hard drives are not very power hungry. Each one is only about 20 watts or so. So you don't really need a super duper, big power supply. You'll be surprised, how much a graphics card consumes as opposed to how much a hard drive consumes. It's always better to get a bigger power supply, but you don't need a really huge one for just because you have 2 or 3 more hard drives in the system. When you add a powerful graphics card, that's when you need to think about your power supply. Good question. That's a very good question. But power budgeting is very important. All right. So now we have the optical drives, or the read-only drives, or for the most part, read-only drives. So we have the optical drives here. Dell recommends that you pay $80 more to go from a usual run-of-the-mill DVD read-write drive to a DVD burner plus Rockseal Creator 10 for the ultimate burn/authoring experience. It depends once again on what you do. For what I do, I'm not going to pay that $80. How many people know what is Rockseal Creator 10 Premiere?
I have it. It was kind of pre-installed on my computer, but never really used it. Never really found it necessary.
Go ahead.
I think
It's a movie video editing software.
Yeah.
Now Windows does come with its own video editing software that's built into it, and obviously this one can do more than that. But it depends on how often you produce your own video clips. If you don't do that, it's not worth the $80. There are also open source alternatives if you want to make your own video clips. So personally, I would not pay extra for the software. Now, if you're talking about Blu-ray discs, maybe it's worth it. Okay, because if you want to play your Blu-ray discs that you purchase from a store, or you rent from a store, then obviously you need to have a drive that is capable of playing Blu-ray. How many people have Blu-ray drives on their computers? Does it make a difference?
I don't even have a Blu-ray disc.
Okay.
It just came with the computer.
It just came with the computer.
Yeah.
Okay. How many people play Blu-ray discs? Nobody.
I
Yeah.
played one once.
You sorry?
I played one once in my computer because
Okay.
we watched Avatar.
Now, it does make a huge difference. Okay, in the good old days where your monitor has limited resolution, DVD is pretty good. DVD, is good for maybe it's a 480p type of resolution. So for older monitors, it's not a big deal. DVD looks really sharp. On the other hand, if you play DVD and Blu-ray side by side, you can see that Blu-ray is much better in terms of rendering the details. Okay, but is it worth the extra money where you can actually buy a Blu-ray disc later on and install it yourself? That's the question. Okay, if they are charging you $120 more, when you want to upgrade to Blu-ray capability. If you don't have a Blu-ray library already, or if you're not using Netflix and only be getting Blu-ray discs, I don't think it's worth it. Okay, I think you can just wait maybe 1 or 2 years, then it's like $50 per drive. You can just buy it from Fry's and replace the DVD drive inside the computer, and you're done. And for people who want to have dual drives, okay, I don't even want one optical drive, let alone 2 optical drives. I don't understand why people want to have two optical drives.
Well, some people need it for movie making, because I know I've got a friend who actually does produce movies and videos and stuff like that for a living, so that's what they need it for. Because they
Interesting.
can read and burn at the same time, or they can read or burn two discs for the DVDs, things like that.
I see.
Or if you're selling pirated games.
Yeah, but even with those, you can just use the ISOs. You don't even need the physical drives anymore.
Yeah, he was selling Craigslist.
eBay or Craigslist. Okay, speakers. Definitely. If it were up to me, I won't buy anything from Dell. I would just go to Fry's. Try out the different speakers, and decide which one is good. Because online you cannot hear the actual quality of the speakers, so I wouldn't buy anything like that. Wireless, I don't think it's worth it to pay $40 to get the Wi-Fi connectivity. You can probably just go get a USB dongle from Fry's for about the same or less, or you can just wait. Okay.
On a desktop, do you really need Wi-Fi? Wouldn't you just plug it in?
You still want Wi-Fi. I have several desktop computers in the house because of the location of the desktop computers, and I don't want to spend the money to route, Cat5 cables. So it's still kind of neat to have, Wi-Fi.
Difficult and messy.
Yeah, it's just kind of a hassle to do it. For keyboards, once again, I would not. If I could say, I don't even want the included one, I would have. Otherwise, I just end up with more, keyboards, in my closet. And for certain people like myself, I would not, get a wireless because I would just, lose the keyboard and the mouse. Sometimes the only way for me to find the keyboard or the mouse is to yank on the cord. It's like, where's my keyboard? Yank, yank. Oh, there we go. The other thing I like, is about the keyboards is I don't even use a regular keyboard anymore.
Do you have the one that rolls up?
No, I use IBM or Lenovo keyboards. Now, the Lenovo keyboard is kind of interesting. The top part of it looks just like a regular keyboard, but it also has a touchpad. Okay, just like a laptop computer. The touchpad has, the two buttons, below. It also has two buttons above, and they are the same. They operate exactly the same way. So when you're using the keyboard, you don't have to move your hand all the way here to click something. You can actually just reach over here and click these two guys. But the best part of the IBM or Lenovo keyboard is it also has a touch point. Okay, the touch point is kind of like an eraser head, from a pencil, and the thing is pressure sensitive. Okay, sideways. So if you push it sideways, the mouse pointer will move, accordingly at the speed that you specify. The harder you press it, the faster it will move. Okay, the pointer itself does not move. It is only a sensor to sense, force sideways. The first time people use it, they will hate it. Okay, because when you're moving the cursor, you're not moving an actual mouse to move the cursor, so there's no physical movement that you can see that corresponds to the movement of the cursor on the screen. Even for a trackball, your motion on the trackball is proportional to the distance that your mouse pointer will actually move. But a touch point, you're just saying, go this way, this fast, go that way, that fast, and so on. But after you get used to it, you won't go anywhere else. I could not get back to a regular mouse because I'm so used to the touch point. The touch point is nice in a very interesting way. You don't move your hand anymore from the keyboard. The touch point is between the G and the H key on the keyboard, which is where your fingers are supposed. Those are your home keys for both of your hands. So when you're using a touch point, you type, and then when you need to move, you just move the touch point, and then you click here. Okay. You have to experience it to find out whether it is for you or not. But I personally really like it. Yep.
Are they how much more expensive are they?
The keyboards are about $50. If you buy keyboards that are not intended for United States, it's cheaper, but then the keys are all over the place. Like the one in my office, it's a European keyboard, so it has some of those European accent symbols, the Euro symbol and stuff like that we don't use in the United States. And also the mapping of the keys all over the place. It's not QWERTY anymore. It is some other arrangement. But the thing is, I touch type. So it doesn't matter to me. I don't even look at my keyboard for the most part. So it's fine. And I pay about 1/2 of the price of a keyboard that is intended for the United States. It also adds security. In other words, if I tell someone my password, it will. If that person does not know how to touch type, that person would not be able to enter the password.
What is touch
Well, yeah,
typing?
what do you mean by touch typing?
Touch typing means you don't have to look at the keyboard when you're typing.
Oh.
Most people can do it to a certain extent. Some people can do it really well. Sometimes I still have to look at the function keys because I cannot remember the location of the function keys all the time. But some people can even do that with the function keys.
So you can set your key mapping to the U.S. keyboard even if the keyboard isn't a U.S.
Yeah, because my
it won't
keyboard does
bother
not.
you.
My keyboard, except for the function keys and maybe even the number keys, for the rest of the keyboard, if there's nothing on it, I can still type. But I cannot spell it out. I can only it's what they call muscle memory. So I can only do it when I'm doing it, but I cannot spell out okay, this is the actual layout of the keyboard.
I remember there's this one layout. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but it's something like.
It starts with D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
It's supposed to be
really
more
interesting.
optimized.
Right.
That's interesting because
I read about it.
the current keyboard configuration, which we normally call the QWERTY or the QWERTY keyboard configuration, was intended so that people can type slower. It slows down people instead of speeding up people. And that's because it was originally intended for mechanical typewriters. And mechanical typewriters have strikers and the hammers and whatnot. So you cannot actually have two keys right next to each other, and one is retracting and the other one is extending. They cannot work like this. Okay, so that's why you have to kind of slow down people so that you don't have these collisions of the keys with the mechanical device. But now that we have completely electronic keyboards, we're still using QWERTY because just because of the convention. And most people like myself, don't want to learn a new keyboard layout, and that's why we're still using QWERTY. Yep.
It brings to mind this one Star Trek movie I saw where Spock was in a Vulcan computer in the 23rd century. It was a transparent keyboard with just 8 keys on there, and he spoke to the computer. He typed and he spoke to it, and it was that kind of like neural exchange,
I want to mind meld with my computer. See, this is the keyboard or the kind of keyboard that I use. It has this one does not even have a touch pad here because it's a miniaturized version of the one that I talked about, and this is even better because I don't even use the touch pad. The touch pad to me is an annoyance because sometimes my palm will touch it and then it moves the mouse pointer or it clicks for me. I just do not like that. So this is actually just perfect. This is the one that I have in my office, without the touchpad. So when you're typing, your finger is usually here, so it's really easy to access the touch point, and then the clicks are here. So your thumb can click, it's just below the space bar. So it's very optimized, for people who do not want to move your hand to the mouse, do something, and then move back. Yep.
This used to be more popular on laptops, right?
It is still popular. It is still popular with Lenovo laptops. Almost every Lenovo laptop still has this configuration, except for their netbooks. The netbooks, has a more conventional touchpad type of setup.
Right. I just remember,